Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur and Smith. If you are joining us for the first time, we're a podcast about history, politics, and race and current affairs. And it's just from a cool pop culture perspective. We just try to break it down simple and plain. I'm a film director from Trinidad and Tobago, travel a lot, always had a love for history and politics. Chris here is a veteran of the Army Reserves that works for the VA with a passion for history and politics. It's about truth. We're not pro any race, just pro truth. The truth offends you. We're sorry, not sorry. And that's our slogan. If you're just joining us, that's what we say every week because we're just about truth. We don't care what color you are, what race you are. Oh, that's the same thing. I mean, what religion you are. We don't care about your political views. We're just about truth, man. That's what it's all about. And what's true is true for you. And I think today and we will do, this day in history today. Today is February 5th, and we're going to be talking about impeachment, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And then next week, we're going to be talking about the Jesus concept and if there's any truth in that. So...
Okay.
So. I think Smith, a.k.a. Crispy, a.k.a. For all of our views on YouTube, you see how crispy his shirt is? He came in with a brand new shirt today.
It's not brand
new. For all of our listeners, I wish you could go to YouTube and see it. He has a fresh blue plaid shirt on today, and it's all good.
All right. So, I'm going to talk about impeachment, the whole, just like the process and what it's about. So,
cool.
Founders of the United States feared that presidents might abuse their powers.
Mm-hmm.
So, they included in the Constitution a process for removing one from office.
Mm-hmm.
So, under the Constitution, a president can be removed from office for treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors.
Right.
So, most people know what, treason and bribery are. So high crimes and misdemeanors have historically encompassed corruption and abuses of the public trust, as opposed to indictable violations of criminal statutes. Former President Gerald Ford, while in Congress, famously said, "An impeachable offense is whatever a majority of the House of Representatives considers it to be at a given moment in history." Which is kind of a very interesting point.
It's what it says. Say that again. It's whatever.
An impeachable offense is whatever a majority of the House of Representatives considers it to be at a given moment in history.
Got you.
So,
interesting.
Like right now, if you think about the political climate,
mm-hmm.
if Trump were to get a blowjob and then lied about it, it seems like the Republicans would not really care.
Right.
And
but back then when Clinton did it, it was like a big deal.
But let's, and let's say that, Democrats wanted to go after him for it. I don't know that they really would even waste their time because the man lies all the time anyway.
Right.
So it's, you know what I mean? So
yep.
Again, it just kind of depends on what's going on in at the moment in history. So no president has ever been removed as a direct result of impeachment. Richard Nixon resigned before he could be removed. Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton were impeached by the House, but not convicted by the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Impeachment is a process by which a legislator brings charges against a civil officer of the government for crimes alleged to have been committed. It can occur at the federal or state level. The Federal House of Representatives can impeach federal officials, including the president. And each state's legislator can impeach state officials, including the governor, in accordance with their respective federal or state constitutions.
Oh, I've never even thought about that. So you can impeach the governor or mayor and all those folks, too.
Yep.
That's interesting. But I guess it's just that those idiots never do anything out of line. Well, sorry for calling them idiots, but I'm saying
I think there's
been times that they've done stuff. Yeah,
we have probably been more. And I would have to look this up.
Yeah.
But, where we know that there's only been 3 presidents who
right.
But But I'm pretty sure
there's been some mayors and governors and stuff that's probably been impeached. I don't remember ever even hearing about it if it has happened in my lifetime.
I mean, if it isn't happening in
your city, it's probably not national news. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they might, but it all depends.
Yeah, that's
what
interesting.
It is, so. Where am I at? So most impeachments have concerned alleged crimes that are committed while in office. However, there have been a few cases in which officials have been impeached and subsequently convicted for crimes committed prior to taking office. Mm-hmm. So, if before you came in, if you did something so wrong and then it's found out, you could be impeached for something you did in the past, which is why the stuff about the Playboy or the porn star and what
the Stormy Daniels,
and the payment and everything that was important because it looked like it was a campaign,
but it was
and so they could have went after
he actually could have been impeached for that,
but they didn't,
which is what Nancy Pelosi was saying on Bill Maher. She was like, he's done so many other impeachable things that we gave him a pass on. This was just a straw that broke the camel's back. Yep.
So, sorry for losing my spot. The official can be committed before taking part. The official being impeached will remain in office until the trial is held. The trial and removal from office, if convicted, is separate from the act of impeachment itself.
Right.
Okay. So the process of impeachment is I'll go into more details, but the removal part or the trial and removal is a whole separate. That's not considered,
So if I could add something, so like how Pelosi was saying, no matter what the Senate does, he's impeached for life,
or no matter what he says,
right? He's impeached. It's on his record for life. So okay, I got it.
Yep. In impeachment proceedings, the only penalties allowed to be imposed by the Senate are removal from office and disqualification from holding any federal office in the future.
Right.
So that's the only two things. Like they really can't. It's not like they're going to
hold any federal office in the future.
Because there was something that said you can't stop someone from the life, liberty, and something else. So those things it's just.
I have a good question though. So if, like in the case of Trump, if the Senate doesn't convict him, does that still hold true since he's impeached? He still can't hold office anymore, or does he have to be convicted?
He has to be convicted.
Oh, okay.
To be kicked out. So basically, right now it's going to be either, and I do kind of talk about this more, is it's either they're going to convict him or acquit. So right now, the way.
But if he's acquitted, he still has an impeachment.
He's still impeached, no matter what.
No matter what. So does that mean he can't hold public office again?
Because Clinton was impeached. But he wasn't convicted.
He wasn't convicted.
So the same thing could happen to Trump. He's already impeached.
Right.
He could, now it's just a matter of is he going to be acquitted
or
convicted.
Right.
So, if a person of high office is convicted of having committed treason, bribery, or other high crimes or misdemeanors, then they will be removed upon impeachment in accordance with the law. An impeachment trial is carried out in the Senate with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presiding if the impeachment involves the president. So if there's, like this is going on, the president is involved, then the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presides over it.
Right.
Impeachment can expand beyond senior members of the White House. Supreme Court of the Supreme Court of the United States, Supreme Court of the United States Justice may be impeached for committing treason, bribery, or a high crime or misdemeanor. Also, impeachment charges must be drafted in the House of Representatives. The trial for the person undergoing such occurs in the Senate. It requires 2/3 of the members present. So currently 67 out of 100 senators, assuming all are present, to successfully remove a public official from office. So Trump is being impeached for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress.
Yeah.
The House could have brought bribery charges because Trump asked the Ukrainian president to investigate Biden in exchange for aid that he personally told his officials.
And a meeting too.
Yeah, and the meeting.
Yeah.
Which the meeting still has not happened officially. Yep, he still hasn't been invited to the White House. But even though the funds have been transmitted or released, not all of them had been, not all
of it. Okay.
I think I heard like 30, there's like 50 some million that's
still
out in limbo. So Trump, again, like I said, was being impeached for abuse of powers and everything. So even though most of the aid has been released, it was done after the whistleblower's complaint became public knowledge also. Because it's weird and interesting how some of the stuff he said to, different people, like, oh, no quid pro quo and all that other stuff, which
he said it after.
Yeah, after.
Yeah,
which
he got caught.
He also must have been presented with the whistleblower's complaint too.
Yeah, well, yeah. As soon as whistleblower complaint became public was when he scrambled and tried to say all the right things, which they brought up in the Congress's hearing. They were like, "Yeah, you got caught, so that's why you said you said no quid pro quo." But of course, he makes it seem as if he was saying it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And his base, who wants to believe anything he says anyway, all he has to do is just spew some BS lie, and they're gonna go for it because they're gonna go for it anyway. He stood there on the lawn when he was about to get in the helicopter, and he goes, "I said no quid pro quo," but he left the part out that I only said it after I got caught, though. No quid pro quo. You know what I'm saying?
And even then, when he did talk to that one guy, Salman, and said in the conversation or on the phone call, it was after it was before the whistleblower's complaint was brought to knowledge or to public. But they in the White House knew about it. They did get a copy of the complaint to be able to see. And so when he was talking to people, he just started using the things that he knew he was getting accused of, but he tried to twist it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even though that's exactly what he's been trying to do. So within the House of Representatives, the House Intelligence Committee investigated Trump and then issued a report. The report was used by the House Judiciary Committee to draft formal charges. After that, they are sent to the Senate there, so then a trial can be started. And that's where we are at now. So for the trial, the House members act as the prosecutors. The senators are jurors. The Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court presides almost like a judge, like he is. The president is allowed to have defense lawyers and call witnesses and request documents. That ain't happening.
Which he's not doing.
No.
Yep.
Which is crazy, just like if I had something to prove I didn't do something, who wouldn't who wouldn't call someone?
But he's lying,
So overall, impeachment is the process of determining whether a crime has been committed, and then if majority of the House of Representatives vote in favor, then that government official has been impeached.
Right.
So, like you had asked me, there are several outcomes that could happen for this. So, number one, the Senate could decide to not convict.
Right, which everybody's saying they're going to do.
Yeah, and since Republicans are the majority, that's very good chance. The Senate could convict and remove Trump from office and also decide to prevent him from holding any office in the government. Okay?
Right.
And then there's number three. They can convict and remove Trump, but allow him to run for president or hold office again. So technically, he could be removed. Pence could take over until January 1st or whatever. And then Trump could still run for office.
Wow.
That I found very interesting. So,
but everybody knows it's going to be the first one, though. They're just going to.
Well, so this is what I was just going to also add. So the one reason why I did also want to talk about the impeachment, and we could have done it before now, but the one interesting thing is that John Bolton pretty much has this book that's coming out, and in it, there's a part where he pretty much says, Trump said, I'm holding aid until they give me dirt on Biden.
Yeah.
Point blank, like bam. Yeah. And of course, no one really, no Republicans and the president
wants to let him
bring him in to be not, as a witness.
Right.
And of course, on the other side, the Republicans are still trying to get Hunter Biden, to be brought in, which again, it's a whole distraction.
Nothing to do. It's just distraction.
Nothing to do
with him trying to, obstruct justice and bribe the.
And in fact, what I would say is, if there needs to be investigation for Hunter, do it, but get this other stuff done correctly.
Yeah, one has nothing to do with the other. But, you know what I mean? I mean, it's one thing to go, hey, as the president, I'm going to investigate the Bidens and stuff like that. But it's another thing to ask another country to do it where the said acts were supposedly committed and tell him, I'm not giving you aid instead of a meeting until you do announce that you're going to do that. You know what I mean? And the reason why he wants to do that, because he knew with them announcing it like that in an official fashion, it would be like, oh, man.
It's almost
and everybody in the U.S. would be like, oh, we don't trust Biden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the effect.
He was looking for another example of like Clinton,
Hillary,
and her emails.
Yep.
And as soon as Comey came out and said we're reopening investigation, and I gotta say, I remember looking at the TV going, oh my God,
that's what killed it.
And after that, most people's spirits were broken, and I think and this again is someone trying to get some influence and I will say, I haven't watched all the, the impeachment trial, but I've been listening to some, checking it out later and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not watching in real time, but hearing like the simple questions that are going back and forth. Republicans are only bringing up same stupid stuff, and the Democrats are kind of repeating the same thing. But of course, they have evidence to, and they want to bring witnesses. But of course, everyone has to vote for it, which is just, again, I don't understand that either. That process.
And see, Trump and them knows that the media kind of controls the whole narrative, man, and how people think and why they think. And they know if they keep saying something over and over and over, even if it's a lie, it becomes the truth when you hear it over and over and over. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for them, all they want to do is skew the facts and make the media think it's something else when it's this over here. You know what I mean? I think they said he's told more lies. How many did he tell already? 20,000 so far? Something like that.
Did they say the number is like,
last I heard it was 15,000, but that was a week or two ago.
Wasn't it 6 a day or something?
So it's up to 20,000 now, probably. That dude that lied so much, man. It's like.
And to the audience, I know this is the second time we kind of brought this up, but again, I was just trying to bring up, the process of the impeachment. And we're going into it a little bit because of how we feel about, this, what's going on. I just don't see, how it's being spent, how, spin the other way, how people cannot just open their eyes and go, yeah, the man did it, and that's wrong, and it's to benefit himself, and it's nothing that benefits the country. And I know that some of the defenses, like policies, can be personal, but they also could be in the interest of, and I get that, but what he asked for was in no way, shape, or form, was helping out the nation. Even to say that he was worried about corruption. That country has already changed their policies, and that was already had been corrected. So you're just beating a dead horse, and you're just trying to,
It's crazy, man. I mean, like I keep saying, I mean, we just have to vote this dude out.
Yeah.
I mean, the Senate is not going to impeach him or convict him of impeachment, and the best way is to vote him out in 2020. People gotta come out in droves, man. I keep saying it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the best way to get them out.
Actually,
and you know what's funny? That'll be even more insulting to him than anything, because he'll be the first one-term president in how many decades? That'll bruise his ego, boy. Impeachment, and he's a one-termer. Oh, his ego will be so bruised.
Yeah.
Oh my God. he'll be done. He'll be. I mean,
Wasn't the last one term was Jimmy Carter? I think.
Was it? I can't remember.
I think
we can look it up.
I could be wrong, but I think so. Because then isn't it Carter, Reagan's twice, Bush
twice? Yeah, everybody else been twice.
And then Clinton twice,
Obama twice,
and then the other Bush.
Yeah, other Bush twice, and then Obama twice. Yeah, I think he will be the first. And why was Carter a one term? Do you know?
During his time, we had a very bad depression. I don't know if you remember, like the whole gas or like. Yeah, there was just a lot of stuff that was going on in the country at the time.
Oh, okay.
So he did. I think he did good things, but it just things were so rough that you kind of take that as
Yeah, he had to take the blame for it.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, man. Well, we got to make him a one-term president. For all of our listeners who are never Trumpers, make sure you do never Trumper parties.
Yeah.
Everybody in Iowa, the caucuses are coming up. Make sure you guys go up and vote. That's the episode that came out last week. We kind of explained it in like under 20 minutes.
And and I know there's people who tend to almost strictly be a Republican because of basically the abortion laws and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw something about that recently.
And I just, just want to reiterate, most Democrats are not necessarily pro-abortion. You just say, hey, it's not something for me and my family or whatever.
Right.
But there's no right for me to tell someone else and I don't know their struggle and what they're going through, that they shouldn't do what they got to do to,
Right.
So that's my thing is.
So
we're not pro-abortion.
Right.
That's what I just want to say.
Yeah, Democrats are not pro-abortion.
Are not.
Right.
That's all.
And Republicans are pro-abortion.
No, they're not. They're against abortion.
They're against abortion.
They're against, and what I'm saying is, even though you're pro, so they're pro-life, we're just pro-choice.
Right.
So I'm saying
pro-choice
does not mean you're pro-abortion.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Because I figured the GOP was pro-life.
Yeah.
Right. And then the Dems are pro-choice. Right. Because they were just talking about that on Bill Maher the other day. And one of the guests was saying, if the Dems switch to pro-life.
Or if they had a candidate who could still say that they were pro-life.
Right.
That they could be able to vote for him. And I get it, but it's like,
yeah. Well,
it's such a sticking thing. And to think that one issue is what, but then it's also like, how do you choose a guy who has had multiple wives, has cheated on his, on his current wife?
Yeah.
I don't know what else he has or hasn't done as far as, maybe having abortions or not. I don't know. But
who knows?
Still, he just seems like the type of person, most conservatives would not go for. And to say that he can be forgiven or that he has asked to be
forgiveness. Yeah.
And that he's really sincere about it. That's the part.
Yeah. And everybody knows he's not sincere about none of that stuff.
Nothing.
Never. Never has been.
Oh.
Like I said, everybody got to get out there and vote, man. And next week, or the Iowa caucus, I'll be glued to the TV seeing who ends up the front runner after the Iowa caucuses.
Yeah.
Because that's who we need to rally behind and support.
I thought I read.
Because that's going to be the person that ends up beating Trump.
Mm-hmm. I thought I read something that
Bernie was up.
Bernie was up.
He is up.
Okay.
Over there. Yep.
Okay.
And Biden is second, and then Warren is third, I think. Yeah. Which I figured it'd be between them three. Anyway, I think I mentioned it on last week's show.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I always thought it'd be one of them three. So, you ready to move on, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, so this day in history. So that was almost impeachment explained in how long we've been on already? 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. So February 5th, this day in history. I see a lot of stuff here, guys. I know it's Black History Month, which I kind of don't honor because I think every month should be Black History Month. It should be history. Why do we need a designated month for history?
Yeah. And why did we get the shortest month?
Right. And why do we get the shortest month? But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do anything from Black History, but February 12th, next week, I will. So let's just run through 3 or 4 things that happened today, February 5th, throughout history. I always try to find the interesting stuff, like Phoenix, Arizona was incorporated in 1881. You know, in 1917, you know, we're neighbors with Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
My birthday is coming up. I was actually going to go down there and do some wine tasting, but we decided another destination. But yeah, Mexico's next to us. In 1917, Mexico's constitution was adopted. What else we have here? 1917. Yeah. What else do we have? Let me give you 1 or 2 more tidbits to go with. You know what? I like New York. Let's talk about this one. In 1952, February 5th, in New York City, 4 signs were installed at 44th Street and Broadway in Times Square that told pedestrians, "Don't walk." You know what's funny? I just watched a video about the Black families and white families, actually, that were kicked out of Central Park for them to create Central Park. I just watched it was called Seneca Village. I wanted to do a show on that, the history of Seneca Village, which is now Central Park, and how they kicked everybody out and took it. And it was interesting, man. I was like, wow. All right, let me give you guys one more. Like I said, I like New York, so that's why I said that one. New York is actually the first place that I lived when I left Trinidad and Tobago. I lived in New York first, so that was my first slice of America, New York, when I left Trinidad. What else we have?
How about this one about Great Britain?
Great Britain imposed economic sanctions against Poland and Russia in protest against martial law in Poland. And that was in 1982. Wow. That was recent. More recent than the 1800s. I mean, you know. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, guys. So that's this day in history, February 5th. Am I talking too loud? Probably. I hear myself really loud. But we will make sure the sound is correct. And yeah, guys, that's our show. It's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, ISENT Group Digital. And you can, don't forget to hit us up on social media. All that stuff is on screen and in the description. Yeah, and you can get us wherever you get your podcast, you know. And that was a little thing on impeachment. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace out. Happy Black History Month, even though it should be every month. Peace.